Okay, we're live after 10 minutes of technical difficulty. Just get the stream up on my phone. Yeah, sorry about the lateness, but we're here, and today, let's not hear myself on the live chat. There we go. Okay. Right, share the stream around. Let's get people in here. Today we're going to be ranking Spider-Man villains, which I know we did the movie villains. Hi, Ravenous Puncher. How are we doing? I know we did the movie villains. We did the movie villains a couple of weeks back. Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Hopefully you're okay. But today we are going to be doing the comic book villains, as you can see on the screen. There is a lot of them, so we'll probably only get through one tier list today instead of the usual two that we do sometimes. So yeah, just make sure to share the stream around. Make sure to share it. Let's wait for a few more people to get in here. Hopefully you're all okay. Hopefully you're having a great day. I'm just gonna share it around before we start. But yeah, this will be interesting because there's a few villains in here that we've not actually talked about yet. There's a few villains in here that I think will be very interesting to talk about, and I want to hear your guys' opinions. So, essentially, the way this will work is we are going to base the villains off their... We're going to base the villains off their overall kind of persona. Thornton, hello, how are we doing? So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to base them off their comic book counterparts. We're going to base them off adaptations, absolutely everything. So how the character's been handled in general over all time. Okay. Hey Lewis, will you do a Lewis Gaming channel? Now funny you mentioned that. I actually used to have a Lewis Gaming channel. I will not be making a Lewis Gaming channel, unfortunately. Because I don't play enough games, number one. And number two, I don't have enough time. There's a lot of content to be made already. I make about 11 videos a week anyway, so I think that would be pushing it a little bit. Yeah. Can we expect any tap dancing in this stream? You're not Thornton? Maybe. Maybe. Who knows? Okay. So yeah, share the stream around. Let's get it going. I need to make sure that actually it gets posted on Discord because I know that the stream sometimes doesn't get posted on the Discord server. So I need to go do that. Yeah, make sure to go share it around, guys. Let's get as many people in here as possible before we start the stream. Before we start ranking these villains. First up, we have Anti-Venom, so that should be interesting. We've never spoken about Anti-Venom on the channel. I don't think I've ever made a video about Anti-Venom either. So this should be interesting. There are lots of comic book games coming. Spider-Man 2, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Wolverine. Which one are you excited for? I'm excited for Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. My two personal favorites of that bunch. Let me know if you can hear me okay, by the way. But yeah, those are my two favorites. Because they're both in the Insomniac universe. And personally... yeah, just, Spider-Man 2, obviously. I will be streaming Spider-Man 2, by the way, when it comes out. So, Ravenous Puncher, if you want a gaming channel, it's not going to happen, but we are going to be streaming Spider-Man 2. I don't think, did you guys get a notification for this stream, by the way? Just a quick question. Did you guys get a notification for this stream? Because it hasn't been sent out to the Discord server, and I'm not sure if people have got it in their inboxes. I'm not sure. You did, okay, cool. At least I know it's going out there. Okay, so I've just promoted on the Discord server. No, that's weird. Oh well, right. Going to be a long tier list today. Yeah, it is. So usually we do like, you know, I'd say 2 tier lists at a push, usually when, you know, we get through them quite quickly. But today, we're going to be doing a longer version of a tier list. Anti-Venom is an A for me. In Shattered Dimensions, he was terrifying. I think you're thinking of Edge of Time. Shattered Dimensions was not Anti-Venom, but Edge of Time is essentially just a loose sequel anyway, so you're basically right. I'll be there without a doubt for that Spider-Man 2 stream. Thank you very much, Thornton. I appreciate that. Yes, the Spider-Man 2 stream is going to be awesome. Okay, well, let's start off then. So, for those of you who are in the chat already, Anti-Venom. Where are we putting Anti-Venom? Because we've got... Now, I want your guys' opinion. Is 5 tiers enough to rank all of these villains? Because personally, I don't think it's enough. Because I think we're going to have to differentiate... Like, for example, let's just say we put Green Goblin in S, right? You put Mysterio in A. But then someone like... I don't know... Let's just say Jack-O-Lantern, who definitely hasn't got all the praise, or all the stories that he deserves over his years. You can't exactly put him in C, because then it's like, well, he's 2 tiers below. He's 2 tiers below Mysterio, but Mysterio has had a lot more stories, which makes him a lot better. Like, is there enough? Like, is there enough? Hi, how are we doing? How are we doing? Welcome to the stream. Mr. Negative and Anti-Venom are connected, right? Yeah, so I mean, Anti-Venom is... Anti-Venom is, you know, the negative Venom, if you could call him the negative Venom, essentially. Where's my boy Hypno Hustler? I don't think Hypno Hustler's on this list. He's not. So this isn't all the Spider-Man villains. I mean, if it was, we'd be having a very, very big problem because we'd be here for hours. Anyway, Anti-Venom. Where are we putting Anti-Venom? If you guys know him, he is from the Edge of Time game. He is from various comic books. I don't think he's been in a cartoon yet. Correct me if I am wrong. He could have been. He could have been. So obviously Anti-Venom is Eddie Brock to begin with. So he, you know, he is just Venom, really. Anti-Venom A tier. Ultimate Spider-Man. I hope Ultimate Spider-Man isn't a villain. I'm gonna say Anti-Venom is probably middle of the park. And I know I do this every week. I know that I put Anti-Venom. Sorry, not Anti-Venom. I put like the first one middle of the park. But I think it helps classify the others later, so I can either move Anti-Venom up or down. I think he's okay. At the end of the day, I think he's had a few cool stories. He's had Edge of Time. He is a terrifying villain. But, you know, he's got a cool concept, but I don't think he's had as good a stories as other Spider-Man villains. I think other Spider-Man villains have definitely had their fair share of great stories over the years, especially in comic books, cartoons, movies, whatever. Games. Anti-Venom just isn't at that level yet. And to be fair, he's more of a recent creation when it comes to Spider-Man comics, so there should be more to come with him in the future. He was in Ultimate Spider-Man man. Oh, right. Was he in Ultimate Spider-Man? Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't know that. So yeah, Anti-Venom is B for me, personally. But yeah, he kills Spider-Man. Does he? What Ultimate Spider-Man are we talking about? Are we talking about the comic books or are we talking about the show? Because the comics, he wasn't in the comics, from my understanding. I've read the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, by the way. I've read all of them, and not gonna lie, my favorite Spider-Man series ever. Ever. For me, he's B, middle of the park. Oh, the game. The Ultimate Spider-Man game. Wait, the one based off the comics? I'm sure he wasn't in that. Was he not? Am I tripping? He wasn't in the video game. He was in the show. I think he could have been in the show. I'm not sure about that one. He was in Edge of Time, if that's what you're thinking of. Anyway, Beetle. So, this Beetle right here in this picture is Janice Lincoln. So that's Tombstone's daughter, by the way, for those of you who don't know. But Beetle, obviously, has had different alter egos over his or her creation, since his or her creation. But where would you put Beetle as a whole, as a character? Well, the thing is, you know what? Let's tie it down. Let's just say it's Janice Lincoln, because I think Janice Lincoln is, especially in the recent comic books, is becoming more of the popularized Beetle, if you could put it like that. Because before anyone needs to get a ban yet? No, not yet, Ray. Don't know her very well. Yeah, well, the thing is about Janice Lincoln is obviously Beetle has been a character in Spider-Man comics for a while before Janice Lincoln took up the mantle. But I think Janice Lincoln is, in recent comics anyway, or in recent stories, has been pushed as kind of the main Beetle, and I think it will be. I think it will continue to be that way. So I think maybe in 5-10 years you're going to look at a lot of Beetle stuff, like in adaptations, like cartoons, maybe even movies, games. It will be Janice Lincoln most likely. So you guys will probably be more familiar with her in a few years. But personally, I like her character. Maybe I'm a bit biased because I use Beetle in my in year one, in Spider-Man year one. So maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think she's another B. She looks a lot like the Wasp. She does. I'm gonna put Janice Lincoln in B. Once again, there are better villains, but once again, she's Tombstone's daughter. There's a lot you can play around with there, in terms of the emotional aspects of it. Which starts filming this Sunday, by the way. Spider-Man Year 1 does start filming this Sunday, which is great. Tell me what she does in the comics. Well, she's Tombstone's daughter. At the moment, in the current run, she is actually just got engaged to Randy Robertson. And essentially, Robbie Robertson and L. Thompson Lincoln, Lonnie, they had a feud when they were kids. And there's a whole rivalry between them, so it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation. I actually really like that story at the moment. It's one of the stories I wish they'd visit more in the comics. But that's where she is at the moment in the current run. Right, okay. Here we go. Beetle. Not Beetle. Big Wheel. Where are we putting Big Wheel? It's big. Does he go straight in S? I mean, he's got to, right? I think we need Wasp versus Beetle. That'd be a good mashup. That'd be a good matchup. Excuse me. Right, where are we putting Big Wheel though? Serious question. Where are we putting Big Wheel? Where are we putting Big Wheel? I think this is an interesting one because Big Wheel is Big Wheel. I think he's very popular. He's been popularized as this meme, kind of like how Morbius has, but he's kind of like the comics version. Who's Big Wheel? Big Wheel. Yeah, I mean, Big Wheel is a D, right? Because as memeable as he is, I saw in one of the comics, I'd say, see, he's just a meme, and he's just one of those villains that pops up here and there. He does his thing. He goes, he's the villain of the week type villain for Spider-Man comics. Wheeling time, that absolutely, exactly. That's what I mean. So, Black Cat, so we got Black Cat now. I think it's very, very obvious where we should put. He's a C for being memorable. Yeah, but the thing is, though, if you put him in C, it's like he is one tier away from Anti-Venom, which doesn't sit right with me. So, Black Cat is an S tier. Where are we putting Black Cat? I think Black Cat's an S. She has to be, right? Because Black Cat, one of the most iconic Spider-Man villains of all time. She is... even in adaptations, she's one of the, even in poor adaptations of Spider-Man, she is one of the best written parts. For example, in Marvel's Spider-Man, which I know a lot of people aren't fond of, Black Cat was written pretty well there. She was really good in Spectacular Spider-Man in all the games she's been in. She's been really good. She's always provided a different dynamic, which I think is interesting. I know Ravenous Puncher on one of the community posts not too long ago spoke about the Femme Fatale and that iconic cinema character. If you guys don't know what the Femme Fatale is, essentially it's a female character typically from film noir movies, and she is basically all the traits of Black Cat, and these characters would typically be very mysterious, dark, but almost violent on the inside, and they're very good, very well written characters. And I think including something like that type of character into a very light-hearted and upbeat superhero comic book provides a very dynamic relationship and a very dynamic twist that you can do with stories. And I think Black Cat provides something different than other villains provide, like Goblin or Doc Ock or something. So yeah, Black Cat is very much an S, and she's been written very, very well in various different adaptations, films, comic books. In fact, I think in the Zeb Wells run right now, Black Cat is probably the best part of that book at the moment. So, you know, shame that we didn't have Black Cat in live action. And I think that's absolutely insane. Black Cat is an A. She's not really a villain anymore. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you could say that about Norman Osborn, right? So Norman Osborn, yeah, he's the Green Goblin, but he's not a villain at the moment. You know, at some point, some of these villains have gone through periods where they haven't been villains and where they've gone through redemption arcs. And I just think if they're in this tier list, they've been a villain. Let's just base them off their character. Yeah, and getting back to the live action thing with Black Cat, I think it's mental that we've never gotten Black Cat in live action. The closest we got was Felicia Hardy in TASM 2, played by Felicity Jones. And I don't think that in TASM 3 we would have got Black Cat either. Maybe we would have done, but I didn't see it really going that way with the amount that they were trying to push on that movie. So I think it's a shame that we've never gotten Black Cat. And I really hope we get her in MCU Spider-Man 4. And if not Spider-Man 4, then at least 5 or 6, or maybe even her own movie. But I'd love Marvel to handle Black Cat. I wouldn't like Sony to do it, because I think Sony... I mean, I'd like a Black Cat solo movie. I think she's one of those Spider-Man characters where she can handle her own solo movie, unlike other characters. Like, I think there's certain Spider-Man characters that are attached to those comics that can have their own movie, that have enough substance. Black Cat is definitely one of them. And but I'd love for Marvel to handle her, though. I don't know why. I just feel like she'd work in the MCU. I think it'd be a good dynamic after No Way Home to introduce that character. But yeah, but Black Cat has been an anti-hero for years. Norman is a good guy. To be an obvious twist when he goes back to normal. Yeah, I mean, that's one problem with Norman, isn't it? He's obviously going to become the Goblin again at some point. I mean, Ray makes a good point. Black Cat hasn't been a villain for a long time, but she was a villain at some point, and she does battle Spider-Man from time to time. She still is a criminal in the comics. Her own comic run that's going right now is just her robbing places. Which Spider-Man would disagree of. So she is a criminal still, right? So, right, Boomerang. What are we saying with Boomerang? The thing is, we're gonna get to some villains that you guys will be more familiar with, because at this moment in time, I feel like maybe we're scratching over some villains that maybe some of you guys aren't so familiar with, and that's understandable because they haven't really appeared in many mainstream things and a very select few of comics. Norman in the comics is an amalgam of Lex and Joker. He is crazy, scary in comics, not only for Spider-Man, but for Avengers too. Yeah, Norman is a great Avengers villain, really, as well, if you really think about it. Forget about Dark Avengers and that storyline as well. So Norman's done bits in the comics. C tier. We think C tier. I'd put him in C tier. I like what Nick Spencer did with Boomerang in his run. If I don't know if you guys read it, but Nick Spencer, essentially, he was Peter Parker's roommate. So let's just put Big Wheel in S tier and call it a day. Damn right. So someone knows how it is. I mean, that's all we need to do, right? We just need to put Big Wheel in S, and it's job done. Yeah, I mean, Boomerang is a C tier for me. I like what Nick Spencer did with him, but apart from what Nick Spencer's done with him, he hasn't really had much to do in Spider-Man stuff, at least from where I'm concerned. I haven't seen him in many things. I haven't read him in many things, and I might be missing something. You guys can tell me. Boomerang seems like a rip-off of Poindexter, aka Bullseye. Yeah, I mean, he is really solid. He's an F tier. I love it. No. Big Wheel definitely deserves to be in S. But yeah, Boomerang C tier for me. Right, here we go. Big one. You guys are definitely going to have an opinion on this one. Carnage. Where are we putting Carnage? Carnage is an iconic Spider-Man villain. Well, is he iconic? He is iconic. I think he's iconic to comic book fans, but I think the mainstream probably won't know who Carnage is. They'll know your Goblins, your Venoms, your Doc Ocks. I don't think people will relatively... I mean, maybe they will now because of Let There Be Carnage. So maybe they will. That's true, actually. He was the villain in Venom 2, wasn't he? We got a lot of Fs. We do. I mean, it isn't even an F tier, but we could put some in. A, S tier, nothing to talk about. Nothing talking about. A. Carnage is an A. He's the most terrifying Spider-Man villain. Yeah, I'd agree. He's an A. For me, Carnage is an A because he's not an S because he doesn't... I mean, he's like the Joker in many ways, right? Joker is an S tier villain, but when we compare how the Joker works as a villain for Batman, it works because there are a lot of underlying kind of themes with the Joker and you know, his creation potentially being linked back to Batman and them having kind of a love-hate relationship with each other. Carnage doesn't really have that dynamic with Spider-Man, even though Carnage's premise of just causing chaos is practically the same as how it is with the Joker. It's just the relationship and the depth of those relationships goes different ways. So I think, you know, he had the potential to be S, but he hasn't got that depth of character that other villains have, like Goblin or Ark or whatever have you. He is definitely an A. He's a solid A. He's a very good villain. He has the potential to be better, but I think he's a solid A. I think he's an A. People are saying A as well. Yeah, he's terrifying. Carnage is more Venom, but he's up there. Carnage is one sick, demented mofo. Definitely, he is. Marvel Universe has a lot of Joker and Batman like characters like Green Goblin, Carnage, Moon Knight, Black Panther, Daredevil, etc. Joker is not. No, of course Joker isn't Carnage. Of course he isn't. Of course Joker's not Carnage. There's nowhere near. They're nowhere near. Joker disagrees with Carnage's ways of things because Carnage kills without case. Joker kills to send a message. Joker is not Carnage at all. No, that was the point I'm saying. Like both characters go out to cause chaos, but the level of depth in which that happens is not comparable. Joker is a far better character, and this is what we're saying. Don't get me wrong. Joker is an S tier villain. Carnage is not. Yeah, Carnage, but Goblin did kind of start out as a Carnage type in the Ditko era. I'm gonna say B for iconography. Yeah, Goblin was such a poor character in the original comics. We'll get to that, by the way. I think Goblin's drastically improved over the years. But he was such a poor character. He was such a poor character back in the day. Like, I could not describe to you how poor he was. He literally just... He basically became the Goblin because he had an inner desire to become a criminal. I mean, how bad's that? It was horribly written. Carnage is a B. If his early stuff didn't exist, he's definitely an A. I think he's an A, personally, because I think when you count in Maximum Carnage, you count in just the nature of the villain being, you know, the symbiote being paired with the psychopath. There's a lot to go. There's a lot you can do with that character, and there's a lot that has been done with that character. I think he's a solid A for me. I think maybe he'd be a low A because the way I see it is he's a better character than Anti-Venom. I think there's a lot more you can do with Carnage, but I wouldn't put him next to Anti-Venom. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put him high B. I'd put him low A more. It just has name value, but the story is god awful. The issue is that's the same with a lot of these villains. A lot of these villains' stories are absolutely dreadful. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the stories that have come out of these villains just existing and being able to be played around with in future adaptations and different comic books, etc. Like, for example, Kraven's Last Hunt is far beyond anything that Kraven had before. The Goblin's origin story was god-awful, was atrocious. Chameleon was just another villain of the week, but look what has been done with Chameleon now, especially in the likes of Spectacular Spider-Man, where he's... Well, actually, to be fair, he wasn't really that good of a villain, Spectacular, for being honest. I think he would have been in Season 3, but... You know, it just... I'm looking directly at Morbius in the eyes, and I'm thinking... I shouldn't have. But now, Maximum Carnage is another level of doo-doo. I thought Maximum Carnage was pretty good. Unless I mean, don't get me wrong, I read Maximum Carnage. Well, I didn't read it. I watched Comic Story or some comic channel when I was a kid, so I probably need to revisit that one. Yeah. So moving on from Carnage, I'm just gonna catch up on some comments actually. How the hell was Batman able to fight Carnage? The crossover sucked bad. Was there a crossover? I don't remember that. Hey, I'm actually creating the Spider-Man cinematic universe, dedicating the time for a saga to Spider-Man Noir. Do you think it's a bad idea? People will be more interested in Peter. Well, you do what you want. One thing that I think is you need to one thing I think you need to understand when you make fan fictions is you don't, obviously you want to please your audience, but don't make that your main focus. Pleasing your audience should be the last thing you do, and I think you should write something that you're happy with first. Write something that you're interested in, and if Spider-Man Noir is the story that you're interested in, then go for it. The benefit to that as well, by the way, is that no one's ever done a Spider-Man Noir cinematic universe, which is pretty cool. I won't lie, because that would be a retro 1930s film noir, maybe slightly Gotham Batman-esque Spider-Man thriller universe, which sounds really sick. So go for it. Go for it. Also, if Ultimate Carnage counts, then definitely an A. Ultimate Carnage was cool as well. Chameleon is a villain for S.H.I.E.L.D. Chameleon works best as an espionage type story, hence S.H.I.E.L.D. a villain. So yeah, I think Chameleon is also middle of the park. I think the thing with Chameleon, actually, you know what? I'm going to put him in C, because I think one thing that hey, Back and Cool, how we doing? I think one thing that we're saying here, and I can see it popping up quite a lot, is we're all saying Chameleon would be a great villain for this. Chameleon would be a great villain for this. And he would be. But I think he's a high C, he's above Boomerang. I think Chameleon works best in Spider-Man stories. Chameleon's good in the 90s show, he is, which is where I give him credit. Chameleon is a good villain, I think, personally. I think he's at his best when he's benefiting the stories of other villains. And the one example that I like to give is the Green Goblin reveal in Spectacular Spider-Man. And I know that a lot of people were saying that Chameleon is just being used as a minion and it's a cop-out, but that's why he works so well. Because having Chameleon as a villain in a Spider-Man thing allows you to explore avenues of mystery, it allows you to explore identity theft, and it allows you to do cool reveals like they did with Green Goblin, where they created a whole mystery on who Norman Osborn is. And I think that's where Chameleon works best as a Spider-Man villain. Now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a different gravy. You know, not Spider-Man at all. And I think he could work there pretty well. But I think he's a high C. I think he's a high C. And he was good in the 90s show, to be fair. To be fair to him. He did have a little bit of backstory when he was revealed to be Electro's brother, the Red Skull's half brother or something like that. That was pretty cool. That story arc that they fleshed out there and adapted. They adapted the Chameleon into there, which was pretty cool. Chameleon and Mysterio work great in a group, but not as solo Spider-Man villains. They may work as solo villains for a new Spider-Man, but not for a semi-seasoned Spider-Man. I totally agree, and this is something that Electro was Red Skull's brother, not Chameleon. No, that's right, I got it wrong. It's been a while since I saw that episode. But they had a whole family thing, didn't they, with Chameleon and Electro, Red Skull. They were all having like a family feud for some reason. No, actually, no. Wasn't it Chameleon was Red Skull's half brother? I swear it was. I could have swore it was. Actually, no, we need to search this. Actually, I can't be bothered. You know what? They had some kind of family dynamic. Right, Demi-Goblin. Where are we putting Demi-Goblin? I thought Chameleon was related to Zemo in comics. I'm maybe wrong. I actually don't know. Is he? My comic knowledge is showing. Right, Demi-Goblin. What are we saying? What are we saying? Where are we going to put Demi-Goblin? I've planned 10 chapters, but not independent. That's fine. Just go with what you got. Demi-Goblin is a B. I only know Demi-Goblin from Spider-Man Ultimate Mobile. I thought he was related to Kraven. Yeah, so in various different stories, Chameleon is related to Kraven. But in the 90s show, he's related to Red Skull and Electro. Demi-Goblin is a magical powered goblin. I don't know, I haven't read a lot about Chameleon. Yeah, so I think Demi-Goblin provides a different avenue for the goblin, but I think he was I think there's a reason we don't see him that often, and I think there's a reason why he's going in D. I mean, he's cool concept, right? But Demi-Goblin, I think it just shows, you know, even you guys in the chat, we can't recall any stories of him. He hasn't got any iconic stories. And if he was iconic, he'd be up there with the likes of Hobgoblin. There's a reason why. Obviously, Green Goblin is the original Goblin, and he will always be the Goblin. But the Hobgoblin could have flopped just as easily as the Demi-Goblin. But the Hobgoblin became iconic because he had some good stories. Demi-Goblin is a cool concept, but I just don't think it ever worked for him. There's a reason he doesn't have many stories. Doc Ock. Doc Octopus, Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octavius. If he appeared in a Spider-Man TV show, maybe he'd be a bit more popular. I mean, he's never been adapted. He's only had two comic runs. I could be wrong there. You guys might have to correct. Two. I think it's two. I think he's appeared twice in two comic runs. I could be wrong. I think it's two. Was it one or two? I don't know. Anyway, Doc Ock S tier. Yeah, I mean, there's no questions, right? Doc Ock is an S tier. Let me adapt him real quick. Yeah, Ray, I mean, you'd be the first to do it out of anyone. Anyone. Films, TV, game, whatever. Just watch him be in Marvel Spider-Man 2 now. Because they're running out of villains in Marvel Spider-Man 2. They've done everyone. They were scraping when they introduced Mr. Negative, because he was never a high, like, B, A tier list villain for Spider-Man. He was always kind of like a C, D tier list villain for Spider-Man. Because he's been around for 8 years. They've already done all the classic villains, except for Osborn and Venom, which we're getting now, and Kraven. Maybe he'll appear at some point. Who knows? Oh, imagine the scenes if Norman Osborn was revealed to be the Demi-Goblin instead of the Green Goblin. What would you guys do? What would you do, right? If in Marvel Spider-Man 2, Norman Osborn was revealed to be the Demi-Goblin instead of the Green Goblin, and then Harry Osborn became the Green Goblin. What would you do? That'd be funny. Maybe Demi-Goblin could be a joke villain. Possibly. He might be just a rip-off. Ned Leeds might be Demi-Goblin in the MCU with the magic sling. That is a very good point. But you'd just make him Hobgoblin, though, wouldn't you? Because he's a more... Like, even if you adapted some of Demi-Goblin's traits and concepts onto Hobgoblin, you'd still call him Hobgoblin, wouldn't you? Because Hobgoblin is the more well-renowned name. Yeah, Doc Ock is S tier and Superior Spidey pushed him to God tier. Doc Ock is one of the best villains for Spider-Man. And like we were saying earlier, with villains going anti-hero and villains becoming heroes, Doc Ock's arc in the Superior Spider-Man comics is great. The Superior Spider-Man comics are the light in the dark, because ever since One More Day, Spider-Man comics have been on a very, 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 very big decline. But Superior Spider-Man was what carried it through the early 2010s. And lo and behold, it's now held up as one of the best Spider-Man stories of all time. And you can usually tell when that's the case because it gets adapted straight away. And 10 years on from when, you know, that run ended, we've gotten it in a TV show. There's hints of it in the PS4 game as well, by the way. There's hints of that story potentially happening. I think that'll be a video I do in the future, actually, because there's some interesting theories I have about Superior Spider-Man potentially showing up in the PS4 universe. But yeah, it's highly regarded as one of the best Spider-Man stories of all time. Off topic, I want Spider-Man to fight other Marvel heroes in Spider-Man 3 game, as they have used most Spider-Man villains. Yeah, I mean, he might do. It depends if they cross any over. I mean, we got the Wolverine game coming, so, you know, it's not out of the blue. I mean, you just look here, right? Let's look. How many villains has PS4 Spider-Man fought? So, we've had Black Cat, Ock, obviously. Carnage, you can't do Carnage yet. You can't do any of the symbiotes yet because of Venom. He hasn't fought Beetle, which could be cool. Chameleon, I'm assuming he has. Big Wheel, Boomerang, they might have just been side villains he's fought. Maybe, well, if he hasn't canonically fought them, then he hasn't. Electro, yeah. Goblin is coming, obviously, we know. Hobgoblin is also a part of that. Hydra Man, potentially. Jackal, he could, but then you have to do the Clone Saga for him to really mean anything. Jack-O-Lantern, maybe not. Fisk, obviously. Craven's coming. Lizard, yeah. Mr. Negative. Molten Man, maybe. Morbius, maybe. I don't know. So there's a few he could. There is a few he could fight, but which ones would give you the best stories? That's the question. Norman would have some mystical background. That'd be funny. Superior Spider-Man was one of the best parts of the Dan Slott era of Spidey. Did I say Dan Slott? Dan Slott. Dan Slott. A rogue symbiote Spider-Man versus other Marvel heroes in Spider-Man 3 game. Maybe Daredevil could show up as a guest character in Marvel Spider-Man 2. I mean, I fully expect them to cross the heroes over at some point, right? Yeah, there was... I'm just reading Ray's comments, sorry. Yeah, there was a mutual respect between hero and villain. Solidified their parallels as downtrodden geniuses. And the thing is, though, I think they've completely undone everything they did with Superior Spider-Man in the Zeb Wells run. Because Doc Ock's back! He's literally alive! And he looks like he did from the 60s. He's alive and his body was did you see his body in the Superior arc or at the end of in Amazing Spider-Man 700? Did you see him? He was a living corpse. He was a living corpse. He was just skin and bone. Man looked like he'd stand up and he'd crumble. And he's alive. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, that was my little rant about Doc. Right, okay, so Human Spider, right. So the Spider-Man with 6 arms, obviously, well renowned for being in the 90s show, as we do know. There's a good arc there. You haven't read Superior Spider-Man Volume 2, have you? There's a Volume 2? Hold on a minute. There's a Volume 2! Since when did this happen? Hold on a minute. There's a Volume 2. When did this come out? 2014? Oh my god. There's a Volume 2. Oh, so this explains. It's stupid, but it explains why he's back. Oh, man. They always gotta ruin good stuff. Bro, this is why I hate the comics, man. Because you get something good like Superior Spider-Man, and they just undo it. It's like how they did with MJ and Peter in the Zeb Wells run. Nick Spencer saved their relationship. Whatever you think about Nick Spencer's run, I think Nick Spencer's run, right, at the time, Nick Spencer's run was, I think it was more looked down upon. I think people said, it's not the greatest thing. But since the Zeb Wells run's come out, people love the Nick Spencer run. People think it's great. People think it's not that bad at all. And I agree. What he did with MJ and Peter and how he built them back up to where they were meant to be. I mean, man, he makes a deal with Mephisto to save. Oh, why is it always Mephisto? Why is it always Mephisto? From Norman, but he has to be a villain again and go back to his original body. Oh, for God's sake! Oh. So it's like, okay, that's literally just right. Okay, can we just point out that what Ray has just said? That is literally just one more day, but for Doc Ock. That is literally just one more day, but for Doc Ock. That's resetting the status quo to what it was before to save a loved one because the comics couldn't go on with a certain part because they knew that the comics couldn't go on without Doc Ock being a villain again. They couldn't go on. I think that's the point. Yeah, I can't do it with the comics. I'm losing my head. Also, would love Morbius Insomniac Spidey 2. Maybe his DNA got mixed with the Devil's Wrath. He knows to hunt Norman and Harry. That could be cool. That sounds like a really good idea, actually. I mean, that'd be a good idea for Craven to hunt. This is why I love the games more. This is why I love the movies more, the shows more, because they have continuous stories, and the comics just... Say what you want about the Dan Slott era, but compared to the Zeb Wells, it looks like a masterpiece. Yeah, I mean some points of the Dan Slott. I'm gonna stop. You know what? Oh mate, it's too late. I'm tired. Compared to the Dan Slott era. To be fair, there was some parts of the Dan Slott era that weren't. You know, I think Zeb Wells does well. I think Zeb Wells is a good writer, and you can tell that he's a good writer. You can tell that he's written stuff before, right? Like, just the way that he handles the dialogue, just the way that he handles the pacing, etc. But it's just the story decisions for me. It's just the story decisions. Hey, buddy, love you. Oh, thank you very much. Pro Ginger Az. Is that... Wait. Pro Ginger Az? Is it Aaron? Is it Aaron? I love you, buddy. I love you, buddy. You guys don't know who Aaron is. You guys are so confused right now. No, Aaron's... He's a friend from work. You guys will get that reference. Anyway, yeah. Human Spider. Let's move on. So, Human Spider. What are we saying for Human Spider, you guys? We'll have to put Human Spider. Where are we going to put Human Spider? Obviously, he's very well renowned for being a popular villain in the 90s show, especially with the Punisher episode, Hold in Jealousy. I hope work's going well, by the way. I'm not there right now. Yeah. Yeah, I hope it's not too busy for you, because it's getting around that time now. Yeah, so Human Spider. Hi Imran, how we doing? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, Human Spider. Brewmaster says, "Who's your favorite Spider-Man villain?" Green Goblin. I mean, we'll get to that. Also, Superior Spider-Man ends with the suit in trash and Otto's fat ass walking away from the trash. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Hold on. There's no way. Wait. There's no way. I can't find it. It's not on here. Ray, send me an image of it on Discord, so I can bring it up on the stream. Send me it on Discord. I'm eating a sausage rolls right now. Pretty dead. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Bro, the sausage rolls. I'd love the sausage rolls at the moment. Aaron is the next Spider-Man villain. Aaron, you hear that? You're the next Spider-Man villain. That's what's going on. The doppelganger. So Human Spider is Peter. Yeah, so Peter, it's just Peter mutated, right? So the Human Spider is Peter when he grows, more arms, right? It's the genetically enhanced spider DNA in him mutating and turning him into a monster, essentially. A spider that's human sized, maybe a bit bigger. I wish Hobgoblin would show up more. We'll talk about Hobgoblin actually in a bit. I've got quite a lot to say about Hobgoblin. I think he's an interesting one. It's not Human Spider, it's Doppelganger. Doppelganger, Human Spider, same thing. I know him as Human Spider. Let's have a look. Ray sent to me. Ray, send it. Send it so I can pull it up on stream. It's not the same thing. What do you mean it's not the same thing? I think my Spider-Man comics card needs to be revoked. I thought they were the same thing. Hold on. Actually, you know what? No, I can't be bothered. Yeah, my Spider-Man comics card needs to be revoked. Ray, send it. Oh my god. That is brilliant. I'm putting this on the stream. I cannot believe it. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible, Jeff. This is amazing. This is amazing. Look at this. Look! Oh, they tried to do the thing and it didn't work. Oh, mate, I can't be arsed. Human Spider is Peter mutated. Doppelganger is a clone, I think. Now, you see, I thought you could be right there. I thought that doppelganger was just the alter ego name for the human spider. Prom date ending be like, yeah, well, Peter ain't looking like that. Prom date ending's better than that. Shite. Doppelganger. I thought maybe you are right. Actually, you know what? You do ring a bell there. Anyway, either or, Peter as a mutated Spider-Man. So who's stronger, Spider-Man or human spider? Oh, human spider by a long shot. Well, you'd assume so. Oh yeah, but that was always badass. And when he mutates into the spider totem phase, when he's fighting Mullen and the spider animal hunter people. Spider-Man, no more calories. Love that. Spider-Man, no more calories. I'm gonna put him. Right, let's just move on. I'm gonna put him in C because I think it's a cool concept. I think it's a cool concept. I think Spider-Man being a mutant freak. Doppelganger was an evil, near-mindless duplicate of Spider-Man that was created by the Magnus during the battle known as Infinity War. The six-armed creature was one of many doppelgangers. Oh, so is that the description then? Okay, that makes more sense. See, I need my Spider-Man comics card revoked because if I don't know that, then what do I know? Right, unsubscribe to the channel. No, please don't do that. I mean, then again, mutate version of Spider-Man, human spider, doppelganger. What's the difference, right? I'm taking your comic card away. Yeah, take it away. I'm a disgrace. I don't know who this mutant freak is. I mean, it looks like human spider, right? Okay, so Electro. Electro. What are we saying about Electro? You guys know Electro. You can't take my comic card away. I'm self-sustaining. I built this company. You know how much I sacrificed? Sorry, that was really loud about. Anyway, Electro. What are we saying about Electro, guys? What are we saying? Electro is a C. Electro is a C. Says Ray. What else are we saying? Electro is a B. S or an A. Electro is an A for me. People like him because he's more memorable, but he literally has nothing to him in the comics. So Ray makes a good point. But like I said at the start of this video, we're counting everything. So we're counting adaptations too. So it's not just the comics. It's the adaptations as well. Bear it in mind, right? So that's why they never adapt him one-to-one. So I think he's a solid. Oh, if you're counting everything, then B. Yeah, so it is B. So it's everything. So it's the comics. Then it's the cartoons, the show. It's everything. Just them as they have been handled as a character in everything. And that way, I think it makes it a bit more fair because I think, obviously, some characters, like we say about Goblin, or a better example, probably Electro is a good example of this actually. Like Electro, like say, is obviously very undermined in the comics compared to how he's treated in, for example, the Spectacular Spider-Man. So yeah, he's a high B for me. Oh, excuse me. Handled very well in shows. In No Way Home, he was cool. TASM 2, weak villain, but still, he's a B. Spectacular did Electro best in anything ever. Yeah, Spectacular Spider-Man by far did Electro best in anything. Spectacular Spider-Man was incredible with Electro. Spectacular Spider-Man was what TASM 2 should have been for Electro. And I'm really, and I think it's weird that they didn't pull the same sort of story with him. Or they tried to, but I think it didn't really work in the same sort of way. Last comics I had was 700 and the Romita Jr. Morlun one with Andy Corazon on the back. My comics card's been revoked. See, the thing is, I don't really own any of the new comics. It's funny you mentioned that. The last comic book I own. Actually, you know what? I can get it out. If you guys just bear with me, you guys are gonna see some madness. I'm gonna get it. Let me just move my clothes. Hold on. My bed comes up. I have to get all the way back over here. Oh no. Oh no, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm out. I made it out. Oh. Whew. I lost the comic on the way over. Hold on a minute. Where's that gone? I'm so confused. I have a Nick Spencer one somewhere, but I don't know where that's gone. What the hell? It's just disappeared. Alright, anyway. Okay. So, I'll show you guys. So, I don't own individual comics. I just have Marvel Unlimited. So technically, I have every Marvel comic ever. Yeah, I mean, I don't have Marvel Unlimited. I got a Spider-Man mask, by the way. Should I put it on? Probably not. Yeah. So, oh my god, I found my card reader. I'm gonna mute Discord because it's creating an awful noise. I'll just go and do not disturb. So yeah. Anyway, so I've got individual ones. Like I've got the Cometh the Computer one, which is a pretty cool story. I've got this one. I can't remember what that was for. Civil War 2. Terrible book, by the way. Oh, yeah, so here's the latest ones I've got. So I have a Nick Spencer one somewhere, which my girlfriend actually bought me as a one-off, because I was basically... I woke up one morning feeling really sick, so she treated me to a comic, which I thought was really cute. But yeah, she bought... I didn't read the Nick Spencer run by then, but it was like one of them in the series. I think it was like the 20th or something. But the last actual Spider-Man comic book I own, that I was reading, is I've got the Dan Slott. I've got the Dan Slott first issue from after Superior Spider-Man. So this is the first issue after Superior Spider-Man. I've got 2, I've got 3. There's the one where Black Cat comes back, and then Original Sin, which is obviously this is the comic book where Silk is introduced. So Silk is introduced in these comic books here. So yeah, this is the storyline where it reveals where Silk was actually bitten by the spider as well. Which, fun fact for you guys. I have the Amazing Spider-Man 700 as well, which is pretty cool, obviously, because I needed to pick this up. When this story was happening, I was like, I've got to get this comic book. So I've got that one. This oh yeah, so the Delusion Conspiracy. This was I think this was before the Clone Saga, the original one, was it? Or it was, I could be wrong. Let's have a look actually. Let's take it out. So I've got this one. This is issue 144. So I don't know how much this is worth now, but I've got issue 144 of the Amazing Spider-Man. Let's have a look. It's not a reprint either. It's like the actual thing. It smells good. Who's this guy? I don't remember reading this. But anyway, the Delusion Conspiracy. I think that was near the Clone Saga. It's a bitch to find stuff on it. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I don't own Marvel Unlimited. I don't really buy them anymore because I stopped reading the comics. And the thing is, I know Marvel Unlimited... If we're getting stuff like the Zeb Wells run, because I would only really read Spider-Man, if we're getting stuff like the Zeb Wells run, I'm not going to buy it. I'd rather have Don Slott over the new editorial idiots. I mean, Green Goblin is horrible in the comics compared to the live-action adaptation in the Spider-Man trilogy, and No Way Home and Kingpin Can't Lie flopped in Hawkeye. Season 1, what are your hopes for Kingpin, Echo, Daredevil? I hope Kingpin is good. I hope he's handled correctly. Dan Slott wasn't even that bad. He was defined... what Modern Spider-Man is, for better or worse. Yeah, I mean, he definitely did. Dan Slott has one of the longest runs as a Spider-Man writer ever. So yeah, I mean, the issue is he had when Dan Slott's run was bad, it was really bad. But when it was good, it was Superior Spider-Man. So, you know, you can give him leniency. I pray to God Zeb Wells doesn't define the modern Spider-Man. He probably won't. And I saw an interesting comment on my video the other day where the video I made about how to fix the Spider-Man comics. Have you guys seen that video? And some guy commented saying that, yeah, well, he was really optimistic, and I actually rate the optimism. But he was like, yeah, so it might be bad at the moment, but in my view, this is where Zeb Wells is going to take the story. He said, basically what you mapped out in this video of how to fix the comics is where I think Zeb Wells is going to go anyway. And he said, looking at it from the perspective of, if this is the outcome, this is just all set up, what Zeb Wells is doing right now. And it might not seem good at the moment, but if it pays off in the way it's meant to, in the way that you mapped out, in the way that we all want it to go, because, you know, everyone wants Peter to end up back with MJ. He said if it all goes the way that everyone wants it to go and it goes the way the fans want it to go, all this setup will be worth it. And I thought, you know what? Maybe looking at it like that, maybe isn't so bad. If it does end up where Peter gets back with MJ and it's satisfying and the Black Cat thing turns into maybe like a love triangle type of thing and they do some cool stories with that, maybe it might turn out pretty good. Anyway, I got some of the first issues of the Miles run, of the new Miles run. This wasn't the first official Miles run, but it's the second one, the Ultimate Spider-Man one. I've got Spider-Man 2, should I say? Spider-Man 2. That's a cool comic book because this is the one where they find evil Miles Morales to the 616 universe. I've got the first issue of Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh no, I've got 2 issues from it. Do I? I've got 2. Got 2 issues from it. 2 issues from Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Didn't really enjoy it, so stopped reading it. Oh, here's another issue from the Dan Slott. Oh my god, here's issue 5. Hi Ryan, how we doing? Here's issue 5 for the Amazing Spider-Man from the 60s. Here's issue 5 with Doctor Doom, which is pretty cool. I think this is a reprint though. Spider-Man Collective Series. I think it is a reprint. So this one isn't like an original one, yeah, because you can tell the paper is a little bit higher quality than the actual ones. But yeah, those are my Spider-Man comics. I mean, I've got more. I've got an Avengers. I've got Avengers Season 1. Avengers Season 1. Hold on a minute. I love the Season 1 comic books. I have to read that. I don't think I've read that. I've just got a bunch of other different ones as well. I don't think I've read any of these, by the way. I've got some more Spider-Man ones, I think, at the bottom of here, but I've got X-Men. I've got Thunderbolts. A plus X. I don't think I've read any of them. I think I basically went on Amazon and bought a comic bundle. Essentially, and I think I just got comics I was never going to read. This is a good book though, Wolverine and Daredevil. I really enjoyed this one. Hi Ryan, how we doing? I need to read more Miles. Yeah, Miles Morales has really good comic books. What's Brewmaster said? I'd rather have Green Goblin just leave New York and be a hero elsewhere rather than become evil again. I mean, to be fair, need to do that one day. A plus X, yeah. A plus X is really the concept is really cool. I think they'll do it in the MCU at some point. I've never read the run, but I roughly know what it's about. So yeah, this is a really good book, by the way. If you guys ever are able to get your hand on the Wolverine Deadpool comic, this is really good. I remember this being really good. It's even got a Guardians of the Galaxy advertisement on the back. So, yeah. This is a really good book, by the way. I really love it. I think it's a great book. So, yeah. There's, X Factor. Fantastic Four. What else we got here? The New Warriors. Another Thunderbolts one. Avengers 10th Anniversary. Oh, now we're into the DC section. Batman 66. Batman the New 52. Batman Eternal. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it for the comics that I own. Now, I'm pretty sure I've got some more somewhere, but that's like my main box, I think. So yeah, that's my books. But yeah, interestingly, I've got a few Spider-Man ones, as we've just seen. I don't see why they don't just continue the Spectacular Spider-Man through comics. They did with Avatar, so why not Spectacular Spider-Man? Maybe comics for Avengers, Earthman's His Heroes as well. Thoughts on Frogman? Greatest character to ever grace anything in any media ever. There you go, Ryan. So yeah, my Spider-Man books are, I've got quite a few, but it's, I've also got Civil War 2, so what do I know? I had an Nick Spencer one, but it fell out. It was the one with Kingpin, where he fought Kingpin. Right, okay, let's get back to it then. Okay, so Green Goblin, obvious S. I think there's no question there. An obvious S. No offense, but we're getting off topic. Yeah, we are. Well, we're back on topic now, so. Right, okay, so yeah, Green Goblin, big S. Big S. S and it couldn't be a debate. No, there's no way. Like we said, I think that he was, sorry I'm a bit late, Cosmic. No, it's alright, don't worry about it. So what the thing is with Green Goblin is his origin story was severely poor. I don't know how many of you guys have read the original comic books where the Green Goblin origin is explained. I think it's around issue 30 of The Amazing Spider-Man from the 60s. I think it's issue 30. I could be wrong. I think issue 30 to 33, is it? I read it last year, so I should know, really. I can't really remember. But yeah, anyway, it's around there. If you guys ever get a chance, go read it. Start it like issue 20 something, and just kind of read your way up to it. You will be surprised at how bad it is. It is absolutely atrocious. To be fair, the original Green Goblin origin was made in the 60s. He was never supposed to become the Joker to Spider-Man. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But my point is that the Green Goblin is absolutely atrocious in the early comics. But his concept was so well received, and his concept had so many good ideas that he was used in the future as this, Spider-Man's arch nemesis. So he's an S through and through. There's no debate about it. In fact, I think he's top S. I think Doc Ock is second. Black Hat, you're gonna have to be bottom of S at the moment. Anyway, Hammerhead. Let's move on to Hammerhead. I think Spectacular Green Goblin was very well handled. Yes, Spectacular Spider-Man Green Goblin is, do I say it, my favorite iteration of Green Goblin ever? Even more than Willem Dafoe's? I think so. I'm going to stick with that, Spectacular Spider-Man is my favorite. Considering he looks like you, it's an S. Yeah, Hammerhead does look a bit like me. Do you guys want to... My forehead is massive. Yeah, I put Hammerhead in... I put him in C. I put him top of C. He's a very good villain to use as like a mafia. He's always the go-to, you know what I mean? He's always the go-to. Hobgoblin? What are we saying about Hobgoblin? Because I know we spoke about Green Goblin. Yeah, Ditko wanted the Goblin to be Joker. Stan wanted the soap opera. I prefer the soap opera. He's in C, but works as a side character than a main villain. Yeah, he's not a main villain. He's a villain of the week, and that's where he works best. I like Tombstone better than Hammerhead. I think Tombstone is a better character than Hammerhead, especially since his reign in Spectacular Spider-Man. Hobgoblin is an A. Hobgoblin is an S for me, maybe B. I would like to see a fight between Hammerhead and Tombstone since they are both very strong villains. Yeah, Hobgoblin is an A. He's above Carnage for me. He's a high A because he has multiple different iterations of the character. Ned Leeds, Roderick Kingsley. He's been adapted very well as well. In the 90s cartoon especially, I think he was done pretty well. Not so much in the Marvel Spider-Man cartoon. But I think it's weird that we don't get Hobgoblin more often. I think that's probably only because it's hard to explain doing both Hobgoblin and Green Goblin, but if you're going to pick one, you pick Green Goblin, right? So I just think it's surprising that we haven't seen more of him because he's a very, very good villain. He's got very, very good stories. Even in the new Zeb Wells run, Hobgoblin appears back up again. Ties in with Roderick Kingsley and Ned Leeds and everyone. So, he's still about. He's still kicking about. Are we counting EP Spider-Man, Shock the System, Hobgoblin? I mean, yeah, sure, if it's an adaptation. EP Shock the System, Hobgoblin was cool, because if so, he's C. Love that. I wish Insomniac's Tombstone was explored more, such a cool take on Tombs. Yeah, I mean, the Insomniac version of Tombstone was cool. I mean, maybe he will. I think Tombstone is one of those villains that I think unless done very centrally, it's hard for him to kind of be a main villain. Yes, Ned Leeds is a joke. Did you watch Shock the System? I've seen Shock the System up until the recent episode, yes. Every time I'm exposed to Hobgoblin, he's like a more tactical, serious goblin foe with a knack for tech, it seems. Haven't read a lot of him. Admittedly, I haven't read a lot of Hobgoblin either. I've read the original Hobgoblin origin. How was it? Ned Leeds finds the finds the underground base of the Green Goblin. And I've read. I can't remember where else I've read Hobgoblin. Have I read him in anything? I don't think I have. I think the Zeb Wells run is the recent Hobgoblin thing I've read, and obviously I've seen him in the 90s show. Hobgoblin was originally going to be season 3 Spectacular Spider-Man, but the show got cancelled. Yeah. I mean, he was. Yeah, that's true. I used Hobgoblin actually in my fanfiction for season 3. If you guys want to check that out, it's on LewisFiction. Hobgoblin appears at the end of the season as kind of like a season finale type villain. So you guys want to check that out, that'd be cool. I remember Hobgoblin from the 90s series. He was great. Hobgoblin in the 90s show was great and unique. Yeah, Hobgoblin from that. And Mark Hamill added so much to that character as well. I think if they aren't gonna do Green Goblin in MCU anymore, they should do Hobgoblin. Absolutely, I definitely agree. And you've got Ned Leeds there to do it as well. But the thing is, do they have enough depth with Ned Leeds as a character to do Hobgoblin? I don't know. We'd have to see. When I think Hobgoblin, I think in the 90s version. I think most people do. A Goblin will there be in the MCU? I think they combine aspects of Hobgoblin and Green Goblin in the MCU. Possibly. Hot take, but they should save MCU Norman and Gwen Stacy for Miles. I think that could work. I'm not opposed to that. Did you know that 90s series Hobgoblin was voiced by Mark Hamill, who voiced Joker and played Luke Skywalker? Yep. He was. I did know that. Hamill did great as a Hobgoblin. Dan Hamill is the legend he is. I agree with not Ryan here, Hobgoblin in the MCU. Miles and Norman are a bad combination. I think it could work. I think people are wary of it because Norman is such a villain tied down to Peter Parker so much. I think people are just skeptical about having him be tied with a different hero. But you got to remember, villains switch heroes all the time. And heroes switch villains. You know, Kingpin to Daredevil originally was a Spider-Man villain. You know, I'm sure there's... off the top of my head, I can't really think of any more, so maybe my argument falls flat here, but I'm sure there's many other villains that have switched heroes before and vice versa. Sable isn't traditionally always been a Spider-Man villain. Sable kind of flip-flops between different heroes as well. You know, is what it is. You know, Venom's got his own series. I think Norman could work. Miles is definitely going to date Gwen in the MCU, considering Gwen is Miles' love. Yeah, and that's the thing, actually. Ray makes a good point. Gwen Stacy is definitely going to be the new love interest for Miles, because I think what they're going to do is one thing that has been happening over the last 10 years or so is they are adapting kind of the sidelined Peter Parker characters and kind of improving them for a Miles story. So they took Prowler, right? And yeah, Prowler from the comics was Aaron Davis as well, right? But before he wasn't, he was Hobie Brown. So they take Prowler, they make him Aaron Davis, and that is now the new iconic Prowler. When anyone thinks Prowler, they don't think Peter Parker villain. They think Miles Morales villain. They think Aaron Davis. They don't think Hobie Brown. So Prowler has now been taken from Peter Parker and been given to Miles Morales as his arch nemesis, as his, you know, family-orientated, tied-down villain. And I think that's perfectly fine. You know, I think that's great. I think it's great that Miles has now got that villain for him. And I think the same will happen with Gwen Stacy. As much as people don't want it to, I think because I mean, at the end of the day, Gwen Stacy is very, very tied down to Peter Parker, but the way that they're going, especially with Gwen Stacy having a relationship with Miles in the comic books, and with Gwen Stacy being in a relationship with Miles in the movies, Gwen Stacy is definitely going to become the new big love interest for Miles Morales. And yeah, we've got Catherine Bishop, and we've got a bunch of others that Miles has had in the Ultimate Comics and in various other different comics, but I think Gwen Stacy will be the main one. And I think they'll tie Peter Parker down with Mary Jane Watson or Black Cat. And that's the way I think it's going to go. I think in the MCU trilogy, we're not going to see Gwen Stacy date Peter Parker. We're not going to see a new love interest. I think it's still going to be Zendaya's MJ. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it, as we know. And obviously, the way No Way Home ended meant that potentially that story could be undone a bit. But I think there are ways that you can do it where the story isn't undone. And I do believe that is the route that they're going to take. And I do believe that Zendaya's MJ will be the love interest for Peter Parker. And then eventually when Miles Morales is introduced, I do think, and I do believe, that if it's not Catherine Bishop or someone else from Miles' earlier run in comics, it will definitely be Gwen Stacy that will be Miles' love interest. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyway, let's move on. Norman is perfect. Is a Peter villain, just like Joker is Batman. Miss Negative should be Miles's villain. If the MCU do see Spidey dying or retiring, I see him dying more. I see him retiring. I don't think they'll kill. I don't think they'll kill Tom Holland's Spider-Man because once you kill Peter Parker, that's it. You know what I mean? You can't bring him back. I think. Well, you could, but he'd have to be a variant, obviously. And they've proved that they can bring different actors in for Peter. So I think once you kill him, you kill him. I think they'll just retire him and not use him. Because then if they do want to bring him back and Tom Holland's up for it, they can do it. Doctor Doom fights the Avengers a lot too. And Deathstroke fights everyone. I do not want to see a Venom in the MCU after Literal Trilogy, Venom, Garbage Sonyverse. That's one thing I'm very, very critical of. I don't want to see Venom in the MCU, really. I think we should just leave him alone. Let Marvel do Doc Ock instead of Venom. Hi, Cool Doge. What's going on? I'm 100% certain that MCU Spider-Man 6 will be the death of Ultimate Spider-Man in some capacity. I mean, it might be. I honestly hope we'll get all new villains for Spidey in the new trilogy. No, we need some old ones too. All new villains is BS. I think Lewis, this broke, don't fix it has led to the MCU's decline. Yeah, I mean that in a broader sense. Fair enough. But I think when we're looking at it, it's more of a pinpoint point. I think MJ being the love interest can work. There are ways it can work. I think he will date some random girls, not work out, and then go back to MJ. Yeah, I agree. I think MJ will still be around. I think her involvement in the MCU trilogy, the new one, will be similar to how it was in the Home trilogy, where she isn't the lead female character in the first one. In Homecoming, she was kind of in the background more. Zendaya was. And then I think she will become more of the main love interest again. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Where are we putting Hydro Man? So Hydro Man's the next one. Oh, gosh. Gosh, a lot of talking. Zendaya is too popular now. Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's all it is. Zendaya is too popular. The thing is, I think financially it's a bad move to get rid of Zendaya. I'm not saying I agree with them bringing MJ back. I think it would be nice to introduce someone else because I think that is the better story for me personally anyway. But I don't think they will get rid of Zendaya. They just can't. She's dating Tom Holland. They've got brilliant chemistry. There's not going to be any feud between the actors. Tom doesn't have to build another relationship with another actress. Zendaya is an A-list celebrity. She's down to come back for the character. She's a great actress. Why wouldn't you bring her back? You know what I mean? I think it'd be ridiculous not to bring her back. Hydro Man, I think he's B. In my opinion, Miles Morales shouldn't be introduced to the MCU until Peter graduates college, becomes a science teacher, and married to MJ. I also think that Peter and Miles having a mental relationship is better. Yeah, well, there's rumors that he's going to be his roommate, right? I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think, it's an adaptation at the end of the day, right? If we don't like it, we can go watch something else. I think they're going to handle it correctly. I don't think they wouldn't have Miles be Peter's roommate if they didn't have a good idea for it. That's all I'll say. Popularity doesn't have to dictate stories. Hemsworth is also popular. Look at what happened to Thor. Yeah, I mean, popularity shouldn't dictate stories. You are completely correct. I 100% agree with that. But that's not the point. The point is that I agree. I would rather use a different love interest at this point in the story. I think it works better after the end of No Way Home. It really does. But I do think that it's not going to go that way. It just won't because Zendaya, when we're looking at it from a business or Marvel Studios' perspective, we've got to look at it from the perspective of the company. They wouldn't get rid of. They wouldn't. You wouldn't get rid of Zendaya. You really wouldn't. If I was running Marvel Studios, and I'm trying to make the most money off MCU Spider-Man 4 as possible, I'd say don't get rid of Zendaya. Don't get rid of Zendaya. That's crazy. It's crazy business. As the story goes, though, it makes total sense, and I totally agree. But from a business point of view, them dating ties into too much as well. It's also impossible for them not to bring her back unless they break up. But even then, her name value is too big. Yo, the Spider-Man from YouTube. Hello. Hydra Man C for style. Yeah, Hydra Man is another C, isn't he, really? He's got some cool stuff. He was cool in the 90s show, but I don't think he's had much more than that. It's like if Robin was the same age as Batman. Yeah, I guess so. Well, is it really? I think Miles and Peter's relationship is different to Batman and Robin's. Maybe it is. I don't know. Hydra Man has always had a great aesthetic. Once again, another thug Spidey villain, pretty charming to me. I agree. I think he should live with his family in the same apartment complex, introducing Miles, but not having him be the same age. That could be pretty cool. Them dating has nothing to do with the movie. They're actors. Yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't. I'm just speaking of the benefits of keeping Zendaya. They're dating. They've got good chemistry. For the studio, from a business, from purely, take the story out of it. Let's forget about the story. Let's forget about the story for a second. And I'm pro story all the way, right? I'm a fan as much as an aspiring filmmaker. Story is king for me. But let's take the story out of the equation for a second. Let's take the story out of the equation, right? From a business perspective, you do not get rid of Zendaya. You don't. Simple as, you just don't do it. Why is Big Wheel in D's S? Ryan, it took you well to realize, but yeah, you're the second person to say that. They should get rid of Zendaya. Business, side story in movies. Having Zendaya would undercut everything in No Way Home. Thing is, I do agree. I would rather someone else be the love interest. I really would. But I think there is ways you can do it. Because there are certain characters that you can't bring back and it would undercut the story. In like different media, there's certain times when you can't bring characters back, but I think Zendaya's MJ is a very complicated situation where you very much can do it, and there are ways to bring her back without undercutting the end of No Way Home. It's just it has to be done correctly. I don't want MJ to get married to Peter in the College Trilogy because Peter would be less enthusiastic and would stay out of trouble. Business wise, Anya Taylor-Johnson is bigger. Anya Taylor-Joy, potentially? Bigger. I don't think Anya Taylor... Are we talking about Anya Taylor-Joy or Anya Taylor-Johnson? Is Anya Taylor-Johnson a person? I don't know. Anya Taylor-Joy. I know Anya Taylor-Joy. I don't think she's bigger than Zendaya. I don't think Anya Taylor-Joy is bigger than Zendaya. I think Zendaya is probably one of the most popular actresses in the world. Because, she's a Disney Channel kid. She's a musician. She can dance as well. So she's a triple threat. She can act. She's now in the MCU. Yeah. No Way Home, it is just one more day done right. They need MJ to come back to fulfill that romantic prophecy. Zendaya has only Euphoria to credit, nothing else. No, we don't need MJ. I think Anya Taylor-Johnson is overrated. If MJ comes back, then Norman and Harry should come back too. Cherry picking is one double standards. Lou, do you work today? I don't work today, no. Anya Taylor-Joy should be Jean Grey. I think Anya Taylor-Joy would be a great Gwen Stacy. I really do. I don't think she's a bigger actress than Zendaya. Zendaya doesn't have only Euphoria. Zendaya's got the MCU, Euphoria, Dune, that one black and white film that she did. All of her stuff on Disney Channel as well. She's done music. She can dance as well. I think Zendaya's got a pretty good cat, and I'm probably missing a bunch of other stuff, but I disagree with the Zendaya part. I think Zendaya's got a good catalog of things acting wise. Dune is an ensemble movie. No, she was still in it. For me, Peter and MJ should get married in the College Trilogy that comes from married in the trilogy that comes from the College Trilogy. Yeah, need to watch Dune. I haven't actually seen it, to be fair. I just know she's in it. I know she got praised for being in it. But anyway, right, so the Jackal. What are we saying about the Jackal? I want to know what you... This is interesting, right? Because I want to know what you guys think about this. So, the Jackal. What are we saying? Because the Jackal's interesting because he is inherently responsible for a lot of the Clone Saga. But also, I think he's a pretty cool character. Anya Taylor-Joy is also voicing Princess Peach for the Super Mario movie, so yeah, she would. Yes, Anya Taylor-Joy is a great actress. I watched her in The Menu not too recently. If you guys have seen The Menu, it's on Disney+. It's a right movie, but she's definitely the best part of it. Jackal is B, C, B. So we'll kind of say middle of the park here. I'm going to put Jackal in a B because he's a low B, but I think Jackal is one of those characters. I think he was done really, really well in Marvel's Spider-Man. He was actually Gwen Stacy's uncle. So I think he was done really well in Marvel's Spider-Man. I think Jackal, he was done well in the 90s show as well, but he was just Miles Warren. He didn't really play much of a big role, but he was there. I think he was done alright in Spectacular as well. Once again, it was just Miles Warren. It was alright. It wasn't really... I'm not really thinking about it. It doesn't really... Jackal is a D? I don't agree. I think Jackal... I look on Discord for Wholesome. Right, hold on. What am I doing? I'm looking at... Oh, no, it's a picture of the dog. Oh, that's so cute. No, I don't think Jackal's a D. I disagree. I like Jackal as a villain. I think he's great. I think he was handled really well in Marvel's Spider-Man. And I'm not going to lie, right? I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? I've been avoiding to say this. I've been avoiding saying this. But I think the Clone Saga is a good story. Okay? Not the comic. The way it was handled is piss poor. The way that the Clone Saga was handled is a madness and should have never happened. But I think the Clone Saga as a concept is pretty cool. And I like it. Which is why I always include it in my fanfictions. If you guys noticed, in my original Spectacular Spider-Man fanfictions, I did the Clone Saga. In my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe, I did the Clone Saga. And I will do the Clone Saga again at some point. I like the concept of the Clone Saga. And I think the Jackal isn't the problem with the Clone Saga. It's the way that they handle the clone side of things. So I think Jackal being this villain that's obsessed with cloning Spider-Man, and then obviously, Bing Bang Bosh, I think he's a cool villain. I think he's a very cool villain. I'm not mad at his opinion. Fair enough. I thought people would jump at that, but no, apparently not. Jack-O-Lantern. Hey, Lewis, wasn't Jameson's son werewolf or something? Yeah, he was man-wolf, right? I believe. When you say Marvel Spider-Man, are you talking about the 2017 show or the Marvel Spider-Man game? I'm talking about the 2017 show. I should probably. You know what? I refer to the show as Marvel Spider-Man. I will refer to the game as Spider-Man PS4. There you go. Okay, Jack-O-Lantern. I haven't read anything of Jack-O-Lantern. The only thing I had of Jack-O-Lantern was a toy figure back in the day. So I have no idea. I'm going to let you guys decide for me. Is he good or not? Is Jack-O-Lantern a good villain or not? In fact, while you guys type your responses, I'm going to the toilet because I am absolutely busting for a pee. Alright, what have you guys said? What have you guys said? Oh, S. Put Morbius in the Morbillion tier. Such a deep and emotional character filled with so much depth. S. Right, so... Remember Jack-O-Lantern, Jack the Lantern? S. Everyone's saying S, guys. What? Guys, come on. S. You know what? Screw it. He's the best Spider-Man villain of all time. You guys did this, by the way. You guys did this. If anyone comes in here later and asks why Jack-O-Lantern is in S, I'm going to let you guys explain that one. I ain't getting involved. Kingpin? Where are we putting Kingpin? Where are we putting the Kingpin? Morbius is an unironic A or S, though. Yeah, he actually is, though. Like, unironically, the movie is absolutely trash, but Morbius as a character is actually pretty cool. Like, genuinely, Morbius is a decent Spider-Man villain. Anyway, Kingpin. Kingpin. Where are we putting Kingpin? Kingpin, originally a Spider-Man villain, later a Daredevil villain. What are we saying about Kingpin? Woo! Tired. Oh, God. It's been a long day. It's been a long freaking day, you know. Oh, Jesus. Oh, where are we putting Kingpin? Kingpin is W. Well, we don't have W on here, but... Where are we putting Kingpin, guys? What is Kingpin? I know exactly where I want to put Kingpin, but I want to know if you guys... Kingpin is the GOAT, so S for me. I'm a Daredevil fanboy, so this is a layered question. We have to base this off him being a Spider-Man villain, right? So we can't take the Daredevil show or any of the Daredevil stuff into account. But even so, he's an S. I mean, come on. Kingpin. He's Wilson the Fisk. He is the Fisk. Romita Senior Kingpin C. Well, we're just counting Kingpin as a whole, right? In anything ever, apart from the Daredevil stuff. So anything is associated with Daredevil, you know, no. But Kingpin S. I mean, do I need to explain more? Kraven the Hunter. Where are we putting Kraven the Hunter? Actually, I'm gonna take Jack-o'-lantern out here. This is annoying. My OCD is going off. Right. Kingpin above or below Black? I think he's below Black Cat, but he's there. He's there. Jackal, I'll move him up to second of B. Hammerhead, Chameleon. I'm just sorting out the big wheel can go in front. Hydra Man probably there. Yeah. We're looking at about that, right? Kraven is a C. C? Who'd win, Last Hunt Spidey or Prom Date Spidey? Ask Ray. No, Last Hunt Spidey, because he's been around for longer. But obviously his set of skills hasn't been fully explored, whereas Prom Date Spidey has. So if you're basing it off the stories that have been told with them, you'd say Prom Date Spidey. But realistically, if we think about it logically with headcanon, you'd say Last Hunt Spidey. But oh well. Yeah, there you go. Here comes Ray. So we're even. Animated Kingpin, so we can bump him to an A and an S. Question: do you think Dwayne Johnson would make a good Kingpin? Wakandan Kraven would be an A for me, but classic Kraven. Last Hunt Spidey was around for years and was a bit. Who would win MCU Spidey with Last Hunt Spidey? MCU Spidey probably. Monkey Vision or LewisFilms? LewisFilms for the win, baby. No, Kraven for me is an S. I think you guys dissing on Kraven. Kraven, I think, is one of the most layered Spider-Man villains we've ever had. I think you guys are forgetting that we had Kraven's Last Hunt. Kraven has been handled really well in Spider-Man shows. He's been in games. He's had a fair few good comics as well. It's just a shame that he hasn't been in a movie yet, which is, a very big shame. But obviously, he's got his own movie coming out at some point. He's going to be in the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game. I think Films is your middle name, Lewis. I've decided for you. Thank you. Lore-wise and concept is cool, but how the hell can he hang with Spider-Man? What are we on about? Kraven is an S. Yeah, I think Kraven's an S. I think plain and simple. I think we're dissing Kraven too much. I think he's above Kingpin, below Black Cat, but he's an S. I think he is an S tier Spider-Man villain. Leaving this having his own show this year, so good news for the Kraven fans. I meant to say I'm so confused. Kraven, when he drinks his super strength potion, becomes dangerous. Yeah, in the Spectacular Show, Craven is like Batman, raw human ability, and most of his media is great. Craven, stupid autocorrect. So that's what you're meant to say. Craven is having his own show this year, so good news for the Craven fans. Well, he's got Craven's show. What? He's getting a movie. Right, the Lizard. What are we saying for the Lizard? What are we saying? What are we saying for the Lizard? I want to know what you guys think. Oh, I'm losing my voice a bit. I can tell it's going. I'm also really hungry. So I'm tempted to cut this short and then say we'll do part 2 later, but I think we'll just power through these. Iconic costume, iconic personality, and notices. Lizard is a B. So we say middle of the park for Lizard. Motifs. Lizard is a B. So iconic costume, iconic personality, and motifs. Not notices. I probably should have picked up on that, but I didn't. I'm not very good at those things. You guys know this. Yeah, for me, he's an A, right? So I'm going to put middle of the park. So Solid says S. Ravenous Puncher says B. I'm going to compromise and say A. I think the issue with Lizard, for me, is that he is told in the same way every single time. He loses his arm. He wants to grow it back. He becomes a lizard. He's got a family. He needs to grow it because of his son. Right? It's a good story. It's a good story. It's an A-tier story. But unlike Craven, unlike Goblin, unlike Ark, unlike Black Cat, unlike Kingpin, even to some extent unlike Hobgoblin, they are unable to tell a different lizard story. And I'd like you guys to tell me where you've seen a different lizard story. Let's look at it, right? So, the original comics, right? TASM 1. Every show that the Lizard has appeared in, including 90s, Spectacular, etc., right? The Lizard is literally just the same. It's the same story every time. SR Striker has joined the chat. Hello. I wonder where Kindred is. Far from home. Friend or foe Lizard is different. I mean, that's true. Friend or foe Lizard is different. But apart from friend or foe. Lewis, did you forget to put Swarm in the ranking? There's quite a lot of villains here that aren't. There's quite a lot of villains that aren't here, should I say. But yeah, Lizard is an A for me. Right, Mr. Negative. What are we saying about Mr. Negative? What are we saying, Mr. Negative? Yeah, he has one. He's a one note though, lol. So for me, Mr. Negative is a villain that I believe Spider Queen is forgotten a lot. Well, a lot of the villains aren't actually here. So Mr. Negative is a B. Yeah, I'd agree. So Mr. Negative is a B. I think he's a high B though. I think he's like a middle of the park B. The reason for that is because I've never read anything Mr. Negative outside the PS4 game, so I can't really judge. You guys will have to tell me in the chat, in the live chat, if you've read anything Mr. Negative in the comments before. Mr. Negative is more layered than Craven. Maybe. I mean, when I think of Craven, I just think of Craven's Last Hunt. I think of the Calypso stuff that happens with him. I think of the implications that causes. I think Craven's a very, very, you know, there's multiple angles you can come at him with. You can come at the celebrity angle, the TV show angle, the hunter aspect, you know, DNA splicing. There's many different great stories with Craven. You know, the Last Hunt stuff, which obviously, you know, is very, very dark. Can't really even speak about it on here, but Mr. Negative, I think, is a B. I've never read anything Mr. Negative outside the PS4 game, but from the PS4 game alone, his story's great. It is great, but it's very much middle of the park. And I think it's maybe because there hasn't been many Mr. Negative things before. You'll notice that a lot of the top villains have variation in story, apart from the Lizard. But Lizard's iconic story, obviously. Ray says, wait. Mr. Negative is more laid than Craven. We read that one. Haven't read a bunch of Mr. Negative. Didn't even know he made He made Anti-Venom lol. Mr. Negative started as a villain for Runaways. Yeah, because he has that connection through Aunt May. I think Mr. Negative has great layers. So S. How is Last Hunt Spidey stronger than Prom Date Spidey when Last Hunt struggled with a human, Prom Date for a giant lizard and scorpion? Hey man, listen. I just said theoretically. I said theoretically he should be, being around longer, more skilled. He'd beat him in a fight. Not necessarily stronger, but I don't know. I don't care enough. Prom Date would win. Cool. There you go. Prom Date wins. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone loves Mr. Negative. He was done really well in the PS4 game, but I think we can't just judge him off that one adaptation, right? So obviously, you look at all the top villains. So you look at Goblin, Ark, Black Cat, Kraven, Kingpin. They all have many. So you could go, okay, well, Green Goblin, Spectacular Spider-Man, great story. Okay, cool, right? So he's an S, right? Maybe, but not only that. 90s show, good. Some of the comics have been great for Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe's Goblin from Spider-Man 1, great. No Way Home Goblin, great. And you look at the variation, Doc Ock, obviously the early comics, some of them are pretty cool. Superior Spider-Man, how he was handled in Spider-Man 2, the shows, Kraven the same. Black Cat, obviously many different adaptations of Black Cat, all been really good. Kingpin the same. Hobgoblin, the same kind of Carnage, kind of. Lizard, not really, but its story's iconic. Mr. Negative, only really one story. It's great, but there's more to come from Mr. Negative. I think if we come back to this tier list in 5 years, I think Mr. Negative has been used a lot more, and I think we would bump him up more. Molten Man. What are we saying about Molten Man? Where are we putting Molten Man? This stream is going for a very long time. I'm sorry. I'm just really hungry at the moment. I love doing these streams. I really do, but I'm really hungry. I'm not going to lie. I am starving. A. Molten Man A. Okay, that's interesting. I will admit, I have only come into contact with Molten Man through the Spectacular Spider-Man. Have you seen, heard, or read Spider-Man Spider Shadow? I've heard of Spider-Man Spider Shadow. Never read it. I love Molten Man. His design is cool. So A, we're saying A. Oh, Ravenous Puncher, thank you very much for the donation. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you always for the donations. They really do help the channel out. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. It's 2 weeks running. I appreciate that. Not only are you a member, you've donated as well. I really, really do appreciate that. That's made my night. Thank you. Molten Man should have been a legit villain than a lame illusion. Yeah, I mean, Molten Man for me, I've only ever come in contact with him in the Spectacular Spider-Man show. And in there he was a really cool character. But I think I think he's C, right? For me anyway. I think you're gonna put him above that. Maybe middle of Hammerhead and Chameleon. There's substance with him. Because he's a kid just trying to... He's just a kid trying to, do the right thing and etc. I love those W's. I mean, listen, Ravenous Puncher, man. You've given a huge W tonight. And thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. It's, yeah, shout out to Ravenous Puncher, man. I mean, bro is, he does bits. He does absolute bits. He watches all the videos, comes to all the streams. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I think it's the end of the day. I said this last week as well, but I appreciate anyone who just watches the videos, just comments or likes or whatever. But, Ravenous Punch is a member, and I really do appreciate it. But, even if you just watch the videos, even if you just watch them, leave a like, comment, whatever, just tell me your opinion, even if you disagree with me. I really do appreciate it because it helps out the channel massively. Imagine if you made an extra row for W's. We could do that. We could make an extra row for W's. Yeah, but then again, it kind of demoralizes the meaning of S. You know what I mean? Thanks, Lewis. Love all you guys. The community, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we got a great community here. I think I love these live streams. I think building the community has been something that I think I've struggled to do on my time on YouTube. I think I kind of made videos that were all over the place, but since we're getting a grind with the video essays now and kind of just very opinionated Spider-Man pieces and MCU content. I think, we're building a very cool community for the live streams, and you guys turn up every week, and I really appreciate that. And hopefully we can get more people that will stick around, more people that will continue to watch the live streams, week in, week out, and that'd be sick, obviously. Very, very supporting the community we have. Yeah, I mean, the community we have is great. I think Marvel and Sony should take notice of us passionate Spidey fans, especially Sony. Yeah, I know they're a company, and I know obviously they've got professional writers, but I think what would be really cool is if they did like some kind of fan consultant thing, right, where they had fans consult them on what would be the best like stories. But obviously they'd never do it. An extra W row means that we'd have to move Big Wheel again. Yeah, I mean, bro, Big Wheel's just moving all over the place, right? And make more Morbius. So we should make a W. We should make a W row. I'd row below. We should make a W row. We'll make it purple for Morbius. Where is he? Boom. There you go. Whew. God. Oh, yawn. There you go. There's the W. There we go. Any more W's? Let us know. Right, Morlin. Okay, Morlin. Where are we putting Morlin, by the way? Morlin is an interesting. I think Sony should have some portal where we could submit our ideas. That would be really sick. Morlin is S. Okay. No questions. Okay, that's an interesting take. It's very hard to get a company to notice us. I mean, look at Warner Bros. Their Velma cartoon fell flat. Yeah, that was an L, wasn't it? That Velma cartoon. Morlin, for me, I don't know about you guys. Morlin is a knockoff Morbius. He's not really, is it? I would compare Morlin to the turtle from Flash Year 1. Morlin is dope. I mean, Spider-Verse is successful as it is, A or S. As a powerful being, Morlin is great, right? I think he holds potential, and I think that's why I'm putting him in B. Now, some of you guys might be surprised here. Above Beetle, above Anti-Venom, above Jackal, not above Mr. Negative. I think Morlin is a B for me, because I don't think as a character he's not. His power set is great, and I think the threat that he poses to Spider-Man is scary, right? He's a scary character, but I don't think his backstory is as strong as it could be. I think you look at the backstories, you look at how well the characters are written, their motifs. I think some characters are written better, including Electro and Miss Negative, and all the above. So he's a B for me, but I think he's a middle of the park B because he has potential. Morlin has loads of potential, and I think if he's written correctly, if he's written in, and I compared him to this character when I wrote my Spider-Verse series. By the way, guys, does any of you guys remember the Spider-Verse videos that I did? The Spider-Verse saga. Hands up if you were there for the Spider-Verse saga. That was some time. Hello? Are we back? We're back. Okay, we're back. Wait. Okay, are we back? We're back. Damn. Okay, so we disconnected there for a second. Sorry about that. We're back. Yeah, anyway, the Spider-Verse saga. I think I'm back. Am I back? We're back. Okay, we're back. Cool. We're back. Yeah, so the Spider-Verse, don't bring it back. I don't know. I can't bring back the Spider-Verse saga. I've got no more stories to tell. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, if you write Morlin in the style of Thanos from the MCU, not exactly the same, but in that kind of vein where you rewrite him and give him that extra depth to his character, I think he would be an S-tier Spider-Man villain. I really do. And I do think Morlin will be adapted. I do think he hasn't been adapted yet, and it's surprising because he's the Spider-Verse villain. I thought he would have been adapted in the Spider-Verse movies, in all honesty. But he will be adapted at some point, and when he is, I bet he will get the Thanos treatment. Morlin from the MCU can be the sorcerer who gets hold of some ancient spider totem. I miss the Spider-Verse saga, says SR Striker. I miss the Spider-Verse saga. The Spider-Verse saga was great because doing all those stories. And I didn't even expect it to go that far, but it just did, and it was great. Scorpion is A tier. Or Vilgax slain in the Shredder from the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not Ryan, fun fact, the original plan for SI Spider-Man before Sinister Six was Spider-Verse Saga. I think they should bring back the Animal Totem the Animal Totem stuff. For the MCU can battle Miles, Black Panther, and I mean maybe even Ant-Man and the Wasps. Right, okay. Mysterio. What are we saying? What are we saying for Mysterio? Just cracked my back. Where are we putting Mysterio, guys? Oh, damn. B? Well, maybe the Spider-Verse movies will be good like the comics. Mysterio is D. Damn, Ravenous Puncher don't like Mysterio. S? Okay, so we've got mixed bag for Mysterio. Yeah, because why does he have to hunt Spider-Man instead of animal-themed characters? For me, Mysterio is a B. But he's kind of like a low park B. He's probably like there. So he's had some cool stories. I just don't think he's got a cool concept. He's a cool concept. I just don't think he has the facilities to stand on his own as like a main Spider-Man villain. Which is why I think Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio is probably one of the more weaker villains in the Spider-Man movies. Mysterio typically works better in the Sinister Six, which someone pointed out in the chat earlier in the stream. I still think he's a cool villain though. The illusion stuff really bumps him up. The illusion stuff and being able to play on Peter Parker's biggest insecurities, like he did in Far From Home, is a reason why he's B for me. Because if he didn't have that trait, I don't think he's anywhere near B for me. Ray says Mysterio is a C. If he wasn't in the Sinister Six, he'd be a D. Damn, so Ray doesn't like Mysterio. Mysterio is a cool design, so he's A. He's a classic. S for Mysterio because he seems very original. Remember when Prom Date was released, I learned about that Monkey Vision. Mysterio is all talk, no show. He's just monologues and then gets beaten. Plus iconic costume style, Riddler-style villain, a formidable coward. His design is very original. Mysterio should have illusion powers. It's time to change the character. Mysterio is serious villain, is great, but not too often he gets treated as a goof. Looks at Will. Yeah, he does. He gets treated as a goof most often. I think he's a good villain for like one episode of like a show, right? Not a whole movie. But yeah, the illusion stuff bumps him up for me, but as a character, he's not it. Right, the Prowler. So with the Prowler, we are counting Hobie Brown and Aaron Davis, so all iterations of the Prowler. Actually, because we did Janice Lincoln as a Beetle, I think... You know what? No, it's only fair. We'll judge just the Aaron Davis version of the Prowler, because we judged only the Janice Lincoln version of the Beetle, so I think it's only fair if we judge the Aaron Davis version of the Prowler. I think it's only fair. Mysterio did drive Logan to kill mutants and Old Man Logan. Yes, he did. I've read Old Man Logan, and I really do like it. I really do like it. That is one of the good things that Mysterio... I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me, Ravenous Puncher. Fun fact, I was actually writing a Old Man Logan story once, based off the comic book, where Mysterio made Logan kill all of the heroes, some of the X-Men, and oh, actually no, wait, the story was essentially, okay, so I'm gonna provide a little bit of context for you guys here. In an old Marvel universe that I was writing scripts for, essentially what happened was the Avengers had split up because of this massive battle, and we start off with Iron Man. It introduces this concept. Iron Man is the only hero about, but then he retires by the end because Pepper Potts is pregnant. And then we move on to Captain America, where Falcon takes up the mantle, and we learn that Steve Rogers is in fact dead, and it's about Falcon learning to take up the mantle. And then we go to Old Man Logan, which deals with the events of Logan, and it turns out that Logan was the one that killed Captain America, thus why the Avengers split up, and that was the whole universe. And essentially it led to the Avengers coming back together because they had to face Ultron. And that was the idea for my universe. And I think it was a pretty cool idea. I never went through with it though, but it was a really cool idea, I think. yeah, that was the initial idea. So it was kind of like through the different projects that I did, it was slowly revealed as to why the Avengers broke up. It was slowly realized why Cap died. Steve Rogers was a massive character, even though he never showed up, because he was the catalyst to the whole story of all of the movies. So that was a little cool thing that I did. Oh, hi Holly, hi Bubs. Hope you're doing okay. She's in the chat. Mysterio, however, was going to be the main villain in No Way Home instead of Green Goblin due to the cancelled scripts. I think Aunt May's death was Mysterio in the MCU. Love MCU Mysterio. Did you see the rest of Old Man Logan comics like Hawkeye? I read the Old Man Logan comics up until was it they went to Babylon? I know I read a few of them. Old Man comics were hardcore. Yeah, they were very hardcore. Hulk ate Wolverine or something. Yeah, the Wolverine had a massive... Ryan is going to make you bring this back, I hope you realise. No, he won't. I won't bring it back. We can all agree that the greatest Spider-Man villain is Mr. Dickovich, of course. By the way, where do you guys post fanfics and stuff? On the Discord server, you can find that in the description below. I think it's in the description. You can post fanfics on there. I'm just going to crack my back. Oh, did you guys hear that? That was great. Mysterio in No Way Home originally had the powers. He was battling Doctor Strange. In No Way, this was the 616 version. No Way Home Mysterio is going to be from a different universe. That would be cool. Mr. Dickovich killed Uncle Ben for rent. Absolutely. Right, Prowler, where are we putting him? I think Prowler is a solid A. He's been turned into an A-list Spider-Man villain. In fact, he's going top of A. He's not quite S, but Prowler has been turned into an A-list Spider-Man villain because of his connection with Miles Morales. And I think that connection is really, really damn good. Unfortunately, at the moment, he is suffering from the lizard effect, and I know it's very early on in his kind of run as a Miles Morales villain, but he is suffering from the lizard effect where he has been told in the same way every single time that he's been put in a Miles story, i.e. Into the Spider-Verse and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales as the two adaptations of example. But I do think in due time he will get some cool stories with Miles, hopefully in Marvel Spider-Man 2, because we know Prowler is still about in that universe. So yeah. But yeah, he's a solid top A class villain for me. Not familiar with Prowler besides Miles, but badass costume, uncle and nephew dynamic is cool. And yeah, and he was kind of just more like a thug villain before Miles Morales, like Hobie Brown, but he was still a cool villain back then. I don't hear much of the Rhino lately after the Devil Rain story where he had a change of heart. Rhino, speaking of which, we're about to rank him. Where are you putting Rhino? Just gonna get my Discord notification off. Ugh, God. Some villains to go, eh? Right, Rhino. Where are we saying? What are we saying about Rhino? You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door. Yep. I definitely want Rhino in the MCU. Rhino is a B. For me, Rhino is top of C because I think he's a classic villain, so he gets points. You can play with the mentality of Alex O'Hearn as a very good plot point because we know Alex O'Hearn ends up hating being the Rhino after his first run. But I don't think that element is played off enough. I think they could do more with that. I think the potential is there, though. So for me, it's a C. Yeah, proper version where he's a bodybuilder. Right, Sandman. Where are we putting Sandman? Where is Sandman? Where are we saying Sandman? For me, Sandman is top of A. I want to put him above Prowler, but... Yeah, I'll put him above Prowler. Because I think Sandman, for me... I like the dynamic of Sandman and his family. I like the idea of Sandman being a sympathetic villain, especially from the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. He has a very sympathetic arc, and in Spider-Man 3 as well. The comics, I haven't read that many comics where Sandman's the villain, you know. But from the shows that he's been in and the way that the character's been adapted, I think he's a very, very good character. He's one of the only Spider-Man villains that has that sympathetic side. Like, yeah, most Spider-Man villains have the sympathetic elements before they become villains, but then Sandman's the only one that kind of reflects on his situation and kind of goes back to being a good guy. And I really like that about him. He has a lot of layers. He has a lot of layers. Scorpion. I think Scorpion is one of those villains that has potential as well, right? So I'll have to put Scorpion in low B. In fact, he's in high C. Scorpion is one of those villains where he has potential. He has potential to be a great villain, because he's very fluid as a character. And what I mean by that is that you can do pretty much any story you want with Scorpion. Probably his most famous story comes from the fact that J. Jonah Jameson hired him to take out Spider-Man. But apart from that, Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, doesn't really have that much to him. But he's a very fluid character, and Scorpion is a character that you can do a lot with. I did in my Spectacular Spider-Man Season 3 fanfiction, which you guys can go watch. In episode 3, I used Scorpion, and I used Matt Gargan as a victim. Basically, his family died as a result of the Green Goblin and Spider-Man battle at the end of Spectacular Spider-Man Season 2. And that's the reason why he becomes the Scorpion, to go and take out Spider-Man and get revenge. So I think that there are many ways that you can do Scorpion as a fluid character. I added depth to his backstory with that fanfiction, where I give him a reason, I give him a purpose to hate Spider-Man and go after him, and I think it works, and I think doing stuff like that with Scorpion really does work. And like I said, he's a fluid character, and I totally expect the MCU to do something very, very similar. I expect the MCU to take Scorpion in MCU Spider-Man 4, 5, or 6, wherever they tend to use him, and I reckon they will do something of a similar vein, where they will basically take his backstory, they will change it and fit it into the MCU, and they will make him a good villain. And they already have the groundwork laid out from Homecoming, so... Scorpion and Prom Date. I mean, you had to come in, didn't you? You had to come in here. But yeah, anyway, so, I think it's proof. It's proof. It's proof that you can do anything with Scorpion's backstory. It's very fluid. It's a very fluid backstory. You can do what you want with it. So, but but from the official things that have come out for Spider-Man, he is high C. He's not any higher than that. He's not. He really isn't. He is a C-level villain for Spider-Man. Nothing more. But he has the potential, which is why he's not D, or lower in C. Scorpion could have been Spider-Man's greatest enemy because of the prey and predator concept. The same for Lizard. Scorpion, the Punisher versus Spidey for Spider-Man 4. Hide by Kingpin. Agent Flash as Drip. Yep. Scorpion and Rhino are the best villain duo. They'd be cool. Scorpion and Shocker, you can do what you want with them. They're more flexible. Yeah, I agree. Shocker's another one. In fact, we've got Scream there, but I think with Shocker, we'll put him next to Scorpion in the same vein, where you can do lots with Shocker. He's very fluid as a villain. Like, his basic power set is memorable. His costume is cool. He's a mobster. There's a lot you can do with Shocker's backstory. Yeah. Let's move on to Scream then. Where are we putting Scream? I don't know if you guys know about Scream, but she's one of the she's one of the symbiotes that came after Toxin. Shocker is just a thug. Yeah, but he can be very fluid. Shocker because we need to hunt him to the ends of the earth. Scream for me, I haven't read much of Scream, but from what I know about Scream, she's a cool concept, because Scream is a part of the hybrid symbiote, right? And there's like 4 of them or something, right? So she's pretty cool. The concept is pretty cool. I haven't read much. I don't think I ever read the comics where Scream was about. I like the idea though, but I think the same with Jack-o'-lantern. I think I'm just gonna have to put here. I like the concept though, so I'll put her a higher D. Sable. The Sable. Oh, Ray says she's awful. I've never read the hybrid comics or the symbiote comics where they show up. Even in her one adaptation, she's god awful. Imagine a fight between Scorpion versus the Predator. That'd be cool. Where are we putting Sable then? Sable's an interesting one because, like Black Cat, she's not really a villain at this point, is she? I think she's done. I think she's a low C, right? So, uh, uh, yeah, she's about there, right? She's a low C. You know, she doesn't really have much to her. Even in the PS4 game, she's just a menacing agent. You know, she's just a menacing assassin that does stuff, can take stuff out. That's about it, right? She was in the Ultimate Spider-Man game, PS4 game. She's appeared in multiple shows. She was, you know, she was in Web of Shadows with Black Widow, wasn't it? Yeah. Right, Alistair Smythe then. Alistair Smythe. What are we saying? I think Sable is a D, but in the game bumped her up to a C in my opinion. Not because I like her, but because they actually did more with her. She's not really a good villain, is she? She's not really a good character, really, is she? She doesn't really do much. Like you compare her to like Carnage. At least Cletus Cassidy has a backstory and has something. Sable's just an agent. She could literally just be anyone. They just use her for name value because people know who she is. But she's not really anyone. She's just a guard. You know what I mean? Smythe is an A. Him and Kingpin were a hoot. Bro. Smythe and Kingpin in the 90s show hit different. I'm telling you now. But Smythe for me is, once again, he is a C. He is a C. He's like there. I like the back. Actually, no. He's like there. I like the backstory with his father. He was cool in the 90s show. Yeah, he's aight. He's aight. He's aight. What do you think of TASM 2 Smythe? Oh TASM 2 Smythe. TASM 2 Smythe is forgettable. I forgot he was in that movie. I miss the Spider Slayers. The Spider Slayer stories are cool. Right, the Spot. What we saying about the Spot? The Spot for me is one of those, I think, once again, like Shocker and Scorpion, a very fluid villain. Very cool concept. Was handled quite well in the 90s show. Was handled quite well in Marvel's Spider-Man. Obviously, he's in Across the Spider-Verse, so could be bumped up. I thought Chameleon was Tombstone. I was about to say you've lost your shit when you put Smythe above him. No, he's not, no. Tombstone's next, actually. Spot is another one of those Fiui. Yeah, so we took, yeah. We touched tips. We did touch tips. Yeah, so he's very fluid, I think, as a villain. You can do a lot with him. But obviously, I think his future role as a Spider-Man villain is very much going to be defined by Across the Spider-Verse, I think. I think he's very much... You know, we were talking about earlier how Prowler is kind of become a Miles villain and Gwen Stacy is kind of on her way to becoming more of a Miles Morales love interest rather than Peter Parker as well. I think after Across the Spider-Verse, Spot is going to definitively be a Miles Morales villain. I think he definitely will be. And I think, obviously we can't judge it yet, but I think he will be... I think I have to put him as a low C at the moment. We'll put him behind Smythe. We'll put him above Hydra Man. But I think when Across the Spider-Verse comes around, I think we'll definitely be having a very different conversation about the Spot. We'll have to just see. I think he'll be an interesting villain for Across the Spider-Verse. So A for a start. Oh, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I just think that I think he's a C. Awesome stream, dude. Everyone have a good one. Oh, thank you. If you're leaving solid, hopefully you have a good rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for coming. I do appreciate it. Not many to go now. Tombstone is Tombstone's an A actually for me. He's a low A, but I love Tombstone. I think he was just a thug to begin with in the comics, likewise in the show. But then in recent years, even in the comics, even in the Zeb Wells run, Tombstone has been adapted into this more fierce villain, and I really rate it. I think it's cool. He's become more of a he's a bootleg Kingpin in many ways. Like he's just Kingpin, but like he's not Kingpin. You know what I mean? Like he's the Kingpin type character, but he's got a little bit more to him, and plus he has that relationship with Beetle as well. With Robbie Robert. He has that really cool story with Robbie Robertson as well, by the way, if you guys have ever read that comic. Very, 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 very dark comic, by the way. I think the best way to build Miles' Rogues Gallery is to just take underused Peter villains and giving them more focus with Miles. I 100% agree. I was actually thinking about this and I didn't say it, but I think that is going to be the way to go. You look at the trends now, right? Prowler, very underused Peter villain. Classic Miles villain. Spot, underused Peter villain. It's going to probably be redefined into a Miles villain. Let's look at other villains. You could take Hydro Man. You could take Boomerang. Just looking at this list here as well. You could even take Demi-Goblin and maybe make him the Goblin version for Miles. You could take Molten Man. You could even do Scorpion or Shocker, although I do think Scorpion will be a Peter villain in MCU Spider-Man 4. You could take Shocker. You could take Morbius. You could do any of these. Tombstone in Zeb Wells comics was the only good part of the new run. I don't think, the more I think about it, I think there are decent elements to the Zeb Wells run, but I think it's all overshadowed by the really bad stuff. But yeah, no, Tombstone was pretty cool in the Zeb Wells run, I will agree. And yeah, so he's an A for me. Right, Toxin. Ugh. Like the Hobgoblin. Yeah, the Hobgoblin was pretty decent. I mean, I didn't feel the need to bring him back. I really hate how they interchange out of stories in the Zeb Wells run. I feel like they take focus away from the main story by interchanging out of like Dark Web and then Hobgoblin story and this and that. But Zeb Wells run only becomes awful once the Norman stuff comes in, to be honest. No, well, I disagree there. It was awful from the get-go because it starts off with just splitting Mary Jane and Peter up. And I know that's nothing new, but to be honest with you, it was just after everything that Nick Spencer did, it was just complete bollocks that they did it. I'm not gonna lie. Tombstone's name is like a wrestler name. Yeah, it is. I gotta run, Lewis. Awesome stream. We'll catch you very, very soon. Okay, Ravenous Puncher, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate the donation as well. Once again, thank you, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. Speaking of, what do you think about the recent Spider-Man comics where give us some answer? Well, I've made many videos on the recent Spider-Man comics, so if you want my detailed answer, you can go watch my 3 videos that I have on them. Well, one of them's coming out tomorrow. It's actually available for members at the moment. So it's available for members at the moment. Yeah, so I think the Zeb Wells run is good. It's but no, what am I saying? Whoa, hold on. Wait, caught in 4K? No, it's not good. No, the Zeb Wells run is really bad. But there are good moments, like Judgment Day is a decent story. The Hobgoblin stuff was alright. Tombstone stuff, like Ray said, was alright. Lewis, get back on topic. I can feel the burnout coming. The burnout has been coming. The burnout has been coming for the last half an hour. No, Ryan, don't clip that. Don't clip it, Brian. Don't clip it. Very good stream, Lewis. Thank you very much, Cosmic. I appreciate that. Hopefully, I'll see you all next week as well. Not ending it, by the way. Toxin. Where are we putting? Right. Okay. Toxin, guys. Toxin. Come on. You got this, Lewis. Toxin. What are you doing, man? I don't know anymore. I'm burning out. Toxin. Where are we putting Toxin? What am I doing? You meant what are we doing for the stream? I don't actually know. I don't actually know what we're doing for the stream. Oh yeah, I had an asthma attack last stream, by the way. That was eventful. I don't have my inhaler on me, actually. Oh god, no. Jesus. The irony. Oh no, the irony. No, we're okay. Toxin ain't much of a villain. No, so Peter McCullough. I liked the story with Toxin where he's kind of like good, but he's like not. I think that's a cool concept where a symbiote, where like he kind of controls it and he's kind of good from the get-go. I kind of like Toxin being kind of like a good guy in a way, because there was that one story where he teams up with Peter to take down Carnage and Venom, and I think that's pretty cool. Sorry if I'm not allowed to say what's going on. Sorry if I'm not allowed to say your name. You're allowed to say my name. Oh, you're talking about Ryan? Oh, what are you doing, man? No to Ryan. Oh, right. Oh, okay. I got confused. Listen, I get confused a lot. You guys know this. I'm a very confused person all the time. Toxin is a D as a villain, but B as a character. Well, yeah. So he's not really much of a villain, is he? Toxin sounds like neurotoxic in Portal. I've never played Portal. Yeah. So I mean, I think he's C really. He's middle of the park, isn't he? I'd give him. I like the concept. I'd give him there. Maybe top of C. No. Second in C. I'd give him second in C. You're slowly deteriorate. Yeah, you can feel it. I can feel it. I think everyone can feel it. The energy's starting to die down a bit. Well, we've got... How many villains? We've got 6... I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know who these guys are. Can you tell me who these guys are? Because I can't really see them that well. Who is this? Do I need my Spider-Man card revoked? Because I don't know who these guys are. I don't know who these... If you guys can tell me who these guys are. Because if you tell me the name, or should we just put them... You know what? They're going in W. I don't know who they are. One of them is Black... Black Tarantula. Is this Black Tarantula? Okay. Well, Black Tarantula is in D anyway. That's for certain. If you guys know Black Tarantula. Definitely not. I don't know who these guys are. This guy looks like freaking Enoch from Ben 10. I don't know. Anyway. Venom Vulture. Didn't the last one... Oh, that's Vermin. No, that's Vermin. Yeah, no, that's D still. Sorry. No, definitely. Which one's Black Tarantula? I don't know. The last one is Vermin. Yeah, the last one is Vermin. You are right. You are right. The one in all black is Tarantula. Okay, well, they're both in D. No, that is Vermin. You are right. No, it is Vermin. I know who Vermin is. He's not very good either. Right, we'll just keep them there. Okay, right. Venom and Vulture. Right, okay. So, Venom is an easy S. I think we can agree. He's probably third. Yeah, top 3 Spider-Man villains. Goblin, Ock, Venom. Venom is easily A or B. I mean, I think, personally, he's S. I mean, it's Venom. You have mixed feelings about Venom. Kangaroo is the one second to last. Kangaroo? So this guy. I don't know who that is. I've never read anything Kangaroo. I know who he is. I've never read anything Kangaroo. Vermin is technically a rat. Vulture is very interesting. Yeah, this is the one we're going to have our last discussion about. So Regular J Studios says Vulture is an A tier. Not Ryan says, I like Venom, but I don't think he should be in or works in movies. Wow, that's interesting. Personally, I like Venom. I mean, he's one of the best Spider-Man. I just think he's overused. I really do. I think there's a reason why studios and games and comics love him. It's because he is literally the perfect character for Spider-Man in terms of strength, in terms of that rivalry. Even though he isn't his arch nemesis is Norman Osborn. I just think he's overused. He's the best gameplay character anyway. It's why he's in so many games. Do you know the Spider-Man villain Screwball? I do. Screwball's actually a pretty decent villain. I like Screwball. I think she offers something different. As a villain than all the other villains do. I actually based Emma Edwards in my Spectacular Spider-Man series off Screwball. I was going to make her Screwball, but then I didn't want to go at it from the live streaming aspect, and I thought I'd go at it a little differently. Or even a fun villain to fight. Yeah, exactly. So, Vulture, when Alien Tombs is done right as the Vulture, I would say is great too. So, before Homecoming came out, I would have put Vulture in B. Sorry. I would have put Vulture in B. Probably high B. Because he was good in the 90s show. He was good in Spectacular. He was decent in Spectacular. He kind of suffered from the Lizard treatment a bit, where he kind of just has the same story over and over again. The 90s show is pretty cool, though, with the whole de-aging thing. But after Homecoming, it proved that Vulture can be a very good villain. Very good villain. Proved he can be a great villain, almost. So I'd probably put him, like, around here. Below or above Hobgoblin? Probably just below Hobgoblin. Yeah. Yeah. Like Spectacular Spider-Man PS4 game and Homecoming. Yeah, I mean, he's been good. I'd put him in A. And there we go. I can breathe. not the spectacular. The Spider-Man villains, or at least the main ones that we've got here. Obviously, some haven't been included, like Screwball and, you know, some of the other symbiotes and whatever. Yeah. But they are all there. There you go. That is the tier list for today, guys. This was a tough one. I won't lie. Getting towards the end, it's dragged a bit, but you know, we've had a lot to get through, but we've got there. We've got there. What about our ranking Flash villains next? That'd be interesting. I think it's not a Flash channel, so it's hard to do other heroes, but yeah, I mean, we could maybe could look into doing a Batman one. Want a VC? Yeah, can do for a bit. I'll get on. I'm just gonna cook some food first. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you so much. I don't think you guys understand how much I appreciate all of you for tuning into the streams and for watching the videos. Ranking Spider-Man love interest. We did that last week, by the way. We did that last week. Very good stream, Lewis. Thank you very much. Make a Lewis channel where it's everything. Oh, man, bro. If I have to make another channel. Before you go, yes. We've ranked love interests, by the way. We'll have to think. Are you going to rate Spider-Man Spider variants? That's a good idea, actually. I'll note that one down. Thank you, Cosmic Bazooka. We'll do that one next, shall we? I convinced the chat to make Jack-O-Lantern an S. I know you did. I know. See, that's why he's going in W. So W is the category where they are... It was me. Well, cool. Good. I mean... Right, anyway. See you later, guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate all of you so much. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. The members page is open. We've got an early access video that's up right now, but it goes out tomorrow. But we've got early access videos coming very soon. So if you want to be a member, from as little as 99 pence a month, by the way, you can support the channel. It really helps me out. And you know, you can get exclusive perks like badges, emojis that you can lose in live streams and all that. But then for $2.99 a month, you get every video early. You get, you know, exclusive members, community post, influence on videos, live streams and stuff. So if you want to be a member, by all means. But obviously just watching the videos is enough, and I love all your support. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the video. So yeah, take care.